Coober Pedy, the town where people live.
This is Coober Pedy, the opal mining capital of the world.
Opal mining is mining for a type of rock. I think they use it in jewellery. But I can straight away understand why people would live under the ground here, because it looks very dry and very hot. And you see it all around the world where people live underground to keep cool, basically.
Parts of Coober seem like an ordinary town. But there's more to this place than meets the eye. Because of Coober Pedy's 2,500 inhabitants, half live underground.
Wow.
There are over 100 of these subterranean homes, dug into the sandstone bedrock. Even the churches are on the down low. Why? To escape the outback's brutal climate.
If you like to live in extremes, this is a place to be. Nice and cold in winter, like down to 1 degree, and in summer where it gets up to around the 45 mark. It's one extreme to the other. That's why we like to live in an underground home, because it's always a constant temperature around 22 degrees.
Here, an upside-down life is normal.
We'd come home from school, do our homework, do our chores, and then Dad would press a jackhammer in your hand and say, "Get cracking, we're making another bedroom."
That's such a good line. Get home, do your homework, and then Dad puts a jackhammer in your hand. We need another bedroom. I suppose that's what you can do. I wonder how you actually buy the land. Do you buy the land or just the property? Obviously, our houses, bricks and mortar and all that. Not necessarily in all countries. Yours are sometimes wood. But you've got something physical to buy. How does it work in Coober Pedy of buying property? Because it's not really property, is it? You're buying the land. But you see it, as I said, you see it all over the world in very hot places where they have built into the rock, into the hills, to stay cool, because because the earth and the rock is really good at insulating, and it allows. I'm going to say insulating, keeps the heat off. It radiates the heat away, and it quite often allows for good airflow as well, which keeps it cool. And as I said, a consistent temperature, because like I said right from the start, I could see how hot straight away this location is. Have any of you stayed in one of these? Is anyone from Coober Pedy? That would be a good one to find out.
We grew up literally with a pick and shovel. We were born with it, just about.
Whilst the subterranean temperature remains a comfy 22 degrees all year round, ventilation shafts allow air to breeze through the dugouts so they don't get too stuffy.
That must be weird. You don't see any homes or anything. You just see the little vents coming out of the ground. That's such a strange sight to see. Really, really strange. But it makes complete sense. It's like on my van. I've got a van, and which I obviously do dog walking, and it's got the little air vent just to try and allow airflow into the back. And this is the same principle.
And it's not just comfy. It's low-impact living, because much of what little power the dugouts need comes from a solar array and wind farms outside of town. Oh, and it's also pretty stress-free.
You can build anything you like, because you can design anything you like. There's no rules and regulations on how you design your home.
They do, from the ones they've shown. There was a couple that were a little bit rough, but imagine living in that. That is so nicely done. That is nicer than my house, and I'd like to think I've done an okay job of decorating, but that is so nice. It's spacious. That's the thing. It's so spacious as well. It's modern, but built under a rock. It's strange to think. Some of these are looking really, really modern, but the setting of it, you wouldn't necessarily think of it being modern.
There has been incidences where they did break through into the neighbour's place more than once. That was back in the days when the measuring tape must have been written in some other language or something.
Building your new extension can bring unexpected benefits.
Building your houses, it's still Opal field, so you always got a chance to find a bit of Opal. I know a hotel in town which they decided to extend a few more rooms, and there was a nice pocket of shells which gave them of nearly 1.5 million in assets. So they were pretty happy with their new extension.
To be fair, I've never really heard of Opal. I literally Googled it before, and it's a sort of a coloured type gem, I suppose. But I've never really heard of it, so I wouldn't have been able to tell you what the worth of it was. Wow, that is a serious haul. You're extending some rooms, and all of a sudden you become rich. And I really love the fact that you can just extend. It might not be that quick to do, but you can just chisel away and make your room bigger or have an extra bedroom. It's incredible.
Coober Pedy's entire history has been about digging holes. The idea of living underground started over 100 years ago with the miners who slept in their mine shafts whilst they searched for their fortune. Surpassed by tourism, the opal mining industry has dwindled in recent years, but it's left its mark on the land.
All those holes.
Every one of those little piles of sand has got a hole next to it. They estimate there's over 2 million of them. And someone's been down those holes looking for opal. They're belled out underneath, so any of this ground could collapse. If you lose your footing, you just slide straight into it. And they go down, some of them go down 80 to 100 feet. You can usually tell how deep it is by dropping a little rock down it. And that one's about 60 feet. Over the years, there's been some rumours that people have been dropped down holes.
Actually, thinking about it, it's probably a good way to offload someone. They probably won't get found, will they, if you drop them down one of those holes and walk off. Another way to look at it is the damage humans are doing to the land is in this sense, because it's just now littered with, well, as it said, millions of holes, large holes. How good is that? How good is that for the earth? I don't know. The other aspect would be, how safe are the homes? Yes, they're built under rock, but it only takes an extra few feet, and I suppose that wall is now too thin and the risk of collapse. I assume it's happened. I assume there's been collapses and things. It's an interesting thought.
There's millions of holes out there. Who knows who's down any of them?
Even if mining has moved on, this town's underground way of life has stuck.
Well, there you go. How many of you have been to Coober Pedy? That sounds weird saying Pedy, because I would call it Coober Pedy. Anyway, have any of you been there? Are any of you from there? I love the way they've got the electricity in and how modern they look in there, some of them. I think it's brilliant. And actually, what a cool way to live. They're talking about a stress-free life. Your costs must be really low. Your monthly bills, for example. Sounds a pretty cool way of living. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I'll catch you next time.